Zach Allen's side, you see 2 Palace Jailer, 1 Back to Basics, 3 Rest in Peace, 1 Abrade, 1 Celestial Purge, 2 Hydroblast, 2 Pyroblast, 1 Wear, and 2 Supreme Verdicts. What do you like on Zach's side?
You gotta like these Supreme Verdicts,
yeah,
right?
I think so.
Those are just such a clean answer. Ed being the 2-color build, he doesn't even have the Planeswalkers going on to threaten the opponent.
Right.
So I like the 2 Supreme Verdicts, the 2 Hydroblast, the 2 Pyroblast. Those just seem like easy inclusions as well.
Yeah, I think the fact that Zach just has all these basics means that he's going to reach that 4-mana threshold pretty reliably.
All the time,
That makes Supreme Verdict so strong in this matchup. If you ever get to put it behind Teferi as well, play it at instant speed, man, things go crazy real quick. Real quick for Zach Allen. Meanwhile, over on Ed Demicco's side, we see 1 Pithy Needle, 2 Bedlam Reveler, an Echoing Truth, 2 Force of Negation, 2 Pyroblast, 3 Smash to Smithereens, 3 Surgical Extractions, and a Vapor Snag. What are we doing for Ed? I think we have some dead stuff to take out of the main deck and some pretty good upgrades here.
Yeah, so the 2 Pyroblasts are the easy starting point, and then it's a question of how you want to fight in this matchup. I probably want the 2 Force of Negations. Zach Allen's deck just has piles of Planeswalkers in it, and you definitely want to be able to deploy your threats and then counter those for free, so I can see those cards coming in. I'm not in love with a lot of these other options. There's a question for, like, does the game go long enough for Bedlam Reveler to be very good? Or do you want to stay low to the ground and aggressive and not have that card waiting to come online?
Well, that is a question that Ed Demicco is going to have to answer. I think what we've seen is Ed favors aggression, and I think that's almost always correct with these Izzet Delver setups.
Yeah, I mean, Pithing Needle is a very similar card, right? Where it's super efficient and it cleanly answers a lot of these Planeswalkers. But if the Planeswalker is on the board, it's already done its damage a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like both players keeping 7 here. Ed Demicco again, turn 1 Delver. This time, though, Zach Allen has the answer. It's Swords to Plowshares. Not letting that Delver of Secrets snowball this game from very early on. We're back to Ed's turn. We're going to ponder. Take a look at those top 3. Anything working there?
Yeah, liked at least one of them.
Zach just playing lands, passing. We do see how insulated this deck is from any land destruction shenanigans, though. Wouldn't surprise me if Ed trimmed some number of wastelands for sure.
Yep.
Just not worth it having them in your deck. If you can be a 16-land version of Delver, you're pretty happy about that. We do see Stifle, though, still present.
Yeah, it's possible he just didn't have enough cards that he wanted to bring in.
Maybe.
To cut all of these cards from his deck.
Maybe. Here's a Dread Horde Arcanist. If that one gets going, that could spell trouble for Zach Allen.
Yeah, a lot of times you just want the creatures that deal damage, but that's going to be just such a resource engine that it needs to be answered.
Zach is going to attempt to fetch, but Stifle.
Oh, man.
Looks like we're going to fight over this.
Yeah, that's a lot of resources.
Yeah, Force of Will. Pitching. Jace the Mind Sculptor. And we're still fighting. Here's another fetch from Ed Demicco.
Could we see a
Pyroblast?
Red Blast here?
That would fit. Yeah, there it is. And that's going to try and answer Force of Will. And that means that fetch land is stifled.
Man, so many resources used to fight over that land.
Right. And a lot of times as the Jeskai deck, you're cool with that. Like, you reload better than Izzet Delver. You have things like Jace the Mind Sculptor. You have Narset. But Dread Horde Arcanist on the battlefield, Izzet Delver can do an effective job reloading as well. Well, finally, Craig, we got something right.
We got one?
We have our first result. It is Storm defeating Elves. Blaze Kohler defeats Charles Azuelos. And Storm moves on to our semifinals. Going to be taking on 4-color Loam. Another Chalice or Bust matchup.
Yeah.
For Jonathan Orr. Gets to be on the play again, though. So we'll see what Jonathan could do. And what I would consider, again, another tough matchup. I said that about Hogak, though. And am I just going to keep saying this as Jonathan wins this entire tournament? Let's see. So, Arcanist answered. Swords to Plowshares. That was big. Very big for Zach Allen. Now he gets to brainstorm.
Yeah, if it's this slow grind where they're both waiting to kind of do their thing, Zach Allen has a bunch of planeswalkers in his deck that are going to be very powerful, while Ed just has like creatures.
Let me tell you a big problem Zach Allen is dealing with right now, though. He just brainstormed and did not find a fourth land. And now fighting over what looks like to be a Hydroblast.
Yep.
And is able to successfully protect Young Pyromancer. It's on the battlefield now. Here's another brainstorm from Zach.
Oh, we better find a land.
We're going 3 deep, found one. Island. So it's not going to be a perfect brainstorm. There's a fetch land.
Good.
Yeah, that was big for Zach. That's going to come alongside a mountain. Does Zach have some of the red removal here? Yes, Sinkhole. Just paying 1 for that. Going to delve a bunch. Makes sense. Wants some mana available to fight. If he has to.
Yeah, he's being real careful about what he leaves in his graveyard.
Of course.
For potential Snapcaster Mages.
Yep.
And it looks like, yeah, after fighting over this Young Pyromancer, Ed doesn't even have a way to cast any more cards, any more spells to get some tokens out of it.
I think he had a Lightning Bolt in hand and chose not to cast. Right, there's a Lightning Bolt.
I saw a Chain Lightning. Although the white border card might be a Lightning Bolt as well.
I think so. Definitely a Chain Lightning. Pretty sure we're looking at a Lightning Bolt. But I get it. I understand not casting it there. Thinks that has a better use later on. Here's Teferi, Time Raveler.
Oh, that one's so good.
Yup. Pretty good.
And
just going to minus right away. Get the value, return Snapcaster Mage. Makes sense. Really like that.
Yeah, and Ed's going to finish it off, but think of it just...
Oh, so much card advantage was just gained there.
Yep.
Absolutely.
The Lightning Bolt didn't go after Zach Allen's face. He's going to get to do his ponder shenanigans again.
Another Teferi is the follow-up. This one going to plus, sitting at 5 loyalty. Preordain from Demicco. This is why I liked Mentor's side of the matchup. Here's a scary card, though. True Name Nemesis, and it's going to resolve.
Yep.
Well, Zach Allen now needs to go searching. Supreme Verdict is the out to that card. And Ed's already reaching for it.
Yeah, second white source.
Yep. Plus on Teferi, passes the turn, back to Ed.
Yeah, with the plus, he can cast the Supreme Verdict on the opponent's turn.
Of course.
As long as he has it.
How does Ed want to start the action? Brainstorm, step 1. Ed loves flashing the cards that he's shuffling away. I think he showed 2 Wastelands there.
Yeah, Ed's a good opponent. He likes to table talk. You know, he's not sour grapes if things don't go his way. He's just a fun person to play against.
I always appreciate playing Magic with those type of players. Well, True Name Nemesis is going to go after Teferi.
Okay.
This is a very clean answer to Council's Judgment. We probably didn't make a big enough deal out of that card, but...
Why, and he has Snapcaster Mage.
Right.
To do it again.
Right. Looks like here comes a Pithy Needle. That did make the cut. Demicco's thinking about it. Lightning Bolt on Teferi.
That is an interesting line.
Just going to pass the turn.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by that play because we know what's going to happen here.
Right. Yeah. Snapcaster Mage. Council's Judgment. Here's Pithy Needle. And that's going to slow down Teferi.
Even sitting there with the static ability, Teferi is still so good.
Oh, absolutely. And here's Jace the Mind Sculptor. Is it the Daddy Mac or the Mac Daddy?
Yes.
Okay. That works. And here we see a plus from Zach Allen, believes he has this game well in hand, and you see why. Daze, Force of Will, those cards don't do anything once Teferi is on the battlefield. Now we're going to take a Brainstorm, having effectively grown the Jace out of Lightning Bolt range.
Yeah, part of me is surprised that he didn't
just get to Fate Sealing.
Yeah, but if he has a mentor here, like
Yep.
he's going to just close out the game with some creatures.
Yeah, Demicco agrees. Going to go ahead and scoop him up, and we are all tied up 1 game apiece. Zach Allen, Ed Demicco.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Scoop. That game's all just over.
Yep, I appreciate this matchup. This is good classic Legacy Magic right here.
Yeah, this is fun.
Ed's going to go back to the sideboard. I think I saw an additional Bedlam Reveler make the cut. Didn't see the second ads there. Some number of Stifles coming back in on the play.
Yeah, like Stifle on the play. That makes sense.
What are we cutting? Didn't see it. Doesn't matter. Coming back anyway. You know, I've learned to work with the imperfect information we have here in the booth. I think in a lot of ways it makes my job more fun. It certainly makes it harder.
No, but
it does make it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But the one thing I really always desperately want to know is exactly how players are sideboarding.
Yep.
I think you probably notice I often try and spot the cards as players riffle through their decks. I just want to know what the configuration is, because it's so important, and it's one of the defining characteristics, the thing that separates great players from good players. Really effective sideboard planning, often a hallmark of the best players.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people really want sideboard guides,
Right.
and I can appreciate that.
Right.
But the danger there is just 1 or 2 card differences.
They can mean the world.
It can drastically change the way you want to sideboard in a matchup. Ed having 4 Stifles in his deck means you potentially want to do something completely different than if you're playing against a Rug Delver strategy with no Stifles.
Spot on. Well, Craig, my hot streak is over. I was wrong once more as Aiden Breyer defeats Kane Reinhardt 4-color control over Nia Loam. That means the bottom half of our bracket, 4-color Loam versus Storm. Top half of our bracket, 4-color control versus the winner of this matchup. Really banking on getting the whole tournament prediction right. I probably need Zach Allen to win here, though, to be able to pull that one out. I don't like taking sides, but no, don't mulligan, Zach. Come on.
Ed has that Bedlam Reveler in his hand. And you know, maybe he'll be able to shuffle it away with an early Brainstorm, or maybe he'll just have enough 1-mana spells to where he gets to deploy it fairly quick.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the reason not to side it in, right? Like, it can just be so awkward.
Well, look, I agree that it's awkward in openers, but it's hard to get super punished as the Delver deck because you manipulate your hand and library so effectively. Yep. Even like you said, even if it's bad right now, you can draw a Brainstorm, shuffle it away, find it later, and you will reach a point in the game where you are happy to have Bedlam Reveler. Just get the Fate Sealing.
Yeah, but
if you can keep it out of your hand in those bad points of the game when you don't want it, it's a big win.
Yeah.
Demicco agrees. Well, it's time to fetch. Scoop him up, and it's time to grab a Delver of Secrets.
Are we playing a basic here?
Let's see. No, we're not. Volcanic Island. Zach Allen's going to play a basic.
Yeah,
though.
you know Zach's going for a basic.
Yeah, and it's going to be basic snow-covered plains.
Stupid snow-covered lands.
I know, Craig. I know. We'll be back doing standard soon, where these snow-covered lands can't hurt you anymore.
Oh man, if they make another snow set.
That's it. Craig's out.
No, I'm driving to Renton, Washington.
All right, you crash at my place.
We can give Watsy a little piece of my mind.
Sure.
They've always listened to me in the past.
I drive by Renton every time I fly out to the East Coast. Pass through Renton on my way to the airport in Seattle.
You give them a little wave?
Yeah. Just give a little shout out. Brought a lot of joy to my life as Wizards of the Coast. Might give them grief from time to time. My life would be dramatically different without this game. I do appreciate all they do.
It is fun and often fashionable to complain about them. But as you're saying, the long answer is that this is spectacular. I love being part of this community. I love being able to play the game. It's a competitive outlet. It's a creative outlet. It does so many good things.
Absolutely.
Social outlet. I mean, it just love me some Magic.
Agreed. No idea where I would be without it. But right now I'm here with you casting Jeskai Mentor versus Izzet Delver, and things have been slow in the opening turns since that Delver was answered by Zach Swords to Plowshares. Both players just building up a little bit. Here's a shot across the bow. It's Dreadhorde Arcanist. Second answer, though, from Zach. It's Swords to Plowshares. We're going to fight over this one. Spell Pierce from Demicco. Does Zach have another response? Yeah, we're pitching Force of Will to Force of Will.
Yep.
Is that going to get the job done? It is.
Yeah, and I think that's a spot that you got to fight if you're Zach.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're both using so many resources to fight over this card. If you lose the fight, you're down tons of resources, and then your opponent's just going to rebuild so fast.
No, you're spot on. That's one of the great things about adding Dreadhorde Arcanist to this archetype. You know, this used to be a very burn-focused approach to Delver, the blue-red decks. They really wanted to kill you as quickly as possible. They didn't have these long-term engines. It was about sometimes price of progress, sometimes a ton of chain lightnings. Things have changed now for Izzet Delver. They can play that middle-of-the-road style game. They're not going as long as the teamer builds, but they can do something and really get some interaction going. Young Pyromancer is the play from Demicco. Looks like it's time for Snapcaster Mage.
Ooh.
Stifle on Snapcaster Mage trigger. Okay, that's a nice one. Talking a lot about what makes a great player, especially of these Delver archetypes. Creative use of Stifle. That's a big one. We've seen it from Ed Demicco, stifling a Dreadhorde Arcanist trigger. But here's a big threat. Pyroblast. Last card in hand for Ed Demicco.
So he did choose to shuffle away
the Reveler.
The Reveler early in the game. He's gotten use out of all of his cards now.
Absolutely. Totally rewarded for it.
And he's in the driver's seat.
Gonna grab Basic Mountain here. Is Demicco? Nope, he's not. Gonna grab Volcanic Island. Yes, he is. Committed to that now.
Yeah, I think the chances that the opponent has back to basics in their deck is just so slim.
Very slim. Zach reps it off the top and slams it. We get another one wrong.
Even if he has back to basics, if you search up the one mountain, you're not doing a lot with that card anyway.
We have a moment of technical difficulties here. Now you get to see our ugly mugs instead of that very interesting game of Magic. We're going to get things sorted out. Give us a moment. I realize this is a very high stakes, high intensity part of this match. I want to see it just as much as you do. Sorry about that. Middle of this. Oh, now it's us again.
Yeah, we're going to get this straightened out. We'll get to where we need to be.
Anything can happen here in the SCG Tour. Maybe next time the camera cuts, it's going to be Cedric fighting Patrick in a cage fight. That would probably sell a lot of tickets, huh? Who do you like? Who do you like in that cage fight?
I mean, that's an easy Cedric.
Is it?
Is
it?
Yeah, I think Cedric's actually a beast.
Okay. Okay. Is Cedric going to be mad at me because I questioned him in this spot now? Is he going to find out about this and I'm never going to hear the end of it?
So you've actually...
This is going to end with me and Cedric fighting, isn't it? That's the only logical conclusion is Cedric and I are now going to be in a cage match.
I sure hope so. I mean, these are all win-win scenarios for me, right? Like, as long as I'm not involved in any of the fighting in the cage.
Right. There's probably no more peaceful person on the planet than me. I really don't want to do any fighting. I would rather pass on that.
Well, you've done this to yourself at this point, yeah.
Right. This is what happens when our feed goes out. I spout nonsense, and now I'm committed to being in some kind of MMA fight.
You'll live with your decisions.
Max punished, I guess.
Don't worry. Patrick and I will do coverage.
Okay, good. I'm glad. And you guys will just be sitting there, popcorn in hand, throwing it back, enjoying yourselves, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I can't blame you. It sounds like we're going to cut back to the match live.
I'm skeptical.
I think we missed a couple minutes.
Oh!
Yeah, we did, because there's a true name nemesis on the battlefield.
Well, that was exciting.
Yeah. Look, I'm sorry about that, viewers. Certainly we wanted to show every second of this match. Unfortunately, some gremlins ate a few minutes of the feed, but you see what's happened in the interim. True Name Nemesis has entered the battlefield.
Oh, man.
But here's the response. It's time for Supreme Verdict. And okay, well, now we're back to square one. This is great.
This is great. So, while we were away, the young Pyromancer looks like it traded with the Snapcaster Mage.
Okay.
The Wasteland was able to be deployed to some effect.
Right.
The True Name Nemesis came down, and then Supreme Verdict was the perfect answer to clean everything up.
Yeah, and now Demicco able to reload almost immediately with a flipped Delver of Secrets into Brainstorm. What a top deck for Demicco.
Yep.
That's going to rumble through now. It's time for Lightning Bolt. Zach Allen's going to hard cast Force of Will here. Oh, it looks like Zach's at 1. That explains it.
Yep.
Well, we're going to Brainstorm, and that is
Wow.
just going to do it. And we did finally catch the end of this matchup. You see Ed Demicco moving on to the semifinals, 2 games over 1 over Zach Allen. I'm going to be honest, I'm heartbroken we missed any of that match.
I'm glad we caught the end of it because that was exciting.
True. That's true. Exciting stuff.